They fight. They fight. They fight. 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 The Itchy and Scratchy Show. Wait, no. That's not it. I'm done. Hello, everyone. I'm Grant the Movie and TV Guy. Welcome to my show. This is the Grant the Movie and TV Guy review show. Movies and TV reviews. That's what we do here. I want to clarify because I don't know if someone saw this in the description. I very erroneously called that SpongeBob movie that I already saw early Sponge Out of Water. It's actually Sponge on the Run. It's the third one. Sorry about that. My bad. Alright. We're not talking about that cartoon character, though. We're talking about a couple of other goofballs. So, I just watched, planning on seeing it again in the theaters with a friend of mine. We'll do like a second opinion, but on HBO Max, I just watched Tom and Jerry. The movie version of course, the iconic cartoon duo who are among the best cartoon characters ever and comedy characters ever. And, am I ever in the minority on opinions on this movie? The film is directed by Tim Story, who perhaps is best known. His better movies are among like Barbershop, which is, of course, iconic. And Think Like a Man, which I liked quite a bit. He also did the two Fantastic Four movies, the first ones from the 2000s, which I like better than other people. Maybe it's just that nostalgia factor of I was a kid when I saw it, or maybe it's just in comparison to how awful Fantastic Four Stick was. But I kind of liked those, especially the second one. Chris Evans was good as Human Torch, and Michael Chiklis is good as the Thing. But now he does Tom and Jerry, and right off the bat, I'm gonna say this way. Maybe it's my inner child coming out sort of in my, like I did in my War with Grandpa review on Letterboxd, but like, I kind of dug this flick. So, wasn't over the moon about it, but I liked it, I think, more than anyone else did, and that's mainly because, maybe there's a benefit of low expectations, but I think that when you compare this movie to, there was another Tom and Jerry movie, those who don't know, it's pretty obscure. Although I'm not going to say much about it, there was a Tom and Jerry movie in the 90s. I'm not going to say much about it because I feel like Siskel and Ebert and the Nostalgia Critic kind of covered these bases better than I ever could. But I think one of the things they hit on the head was that the biggest problem with that movie was, one, they talk, two, they're friends, and it's kind of sing-songy, and then also they're sidelined by a kind of boring character who's on like a boring quest. The thing about it is that this movie... I think what people need to realize is that Tom and Jerry in a movie, when they're at feature length, are going to be sidelined by the humans. That's just the way it is. Tom and Jerry, as characters, don't have a good shtick, but it's not enough to carry an 100-minute runtime. So you have to have humans. In the same way that Transformers can't just be fighting for a whole movie. You know, you gotta have some human element. And when I talk about Transformers, I'm talking about the good one. I'm talking about Bumblebee. Not the other ones. Well, the first one. But the thing is like, this movie, one thing I will say that I think is completely high point, and I don't think anyone can disagree, who is a fan of this, because I grew up with this show. I still love Tom and Jerry. I could still watch an old Tom and Jerry cartoon from time to time. What I think works about this movie the best is when Tom and Jerry are going at it, which is not as much as maybe most people would have liked, but when it's happening, that wave of nostalgia just hit me. I just kind of was smiling and laughing throughout. There was one particularly great sidekick involving Young Frankenstein, which really made me laugh harder than I care to admit. But I think what worked too is that on paper the human plot doesn't quite work. It's basically like Chloe Moretz, who also the whole Kick-Ass is one of my favorite movies. So the whole time I was like, hey, dude, just put on the purple wig and the mask and take out the butterfly knife, and you can take out Jerry easily. And then I remembered this is a kids movie. She's not Hit Girl in this, she's Kayla. So her character Kayla, what she does is, she's kind of a con artist, and she cons her way into working at this hotel. She immediately makes an instant enemy, and I believe, what did they say? He was like the activities director, Michael Pena, who's better here than he's been in a bit. And I like Michael Pena. This is his best work probably since Ant-Man and the Wasp. And he's quite funny in this. He's kind of a de facto villain, I guess, if you're going to have a human villain. And it's the wedding of Colin Jost. Colin Jost is marrying a woman who, I don't know who this actress is, but she was pretty good in the movie. I think she's like a Bollywood actress. What's interesting is that in India and like the surrounding countries, Tom and Jerry's apparently kind of huge, I think. Like, I think that's kind of what it is. Like, I think it opened there first, which I think that they like are really well known over there. They still have like a massive following in the same way that Jerry Lewis is still popular in France. I think that in India, Tom and Jerry are like a big deal. But like regardless, they're getting married. She very understandably doesn't want him to go too big, and that's kind of the conflict, is that he just wants it to be big with elephants and drones and stuff, Colin Jost, and she's not crazy about it, and she kind of quickly befriends the bride, befriends Chloe Moretz. And Chloe Moretz also befriends a young bartender, who kind of becomes like a potential love interest / friend, and she begins to wrestle with it. The boss is Rob Delaney. So, you can tell by the cast already is pretty good. You got people like, and then also, but on top of that, you got like a kind of snooty chef who kind of course, where there's a snooty chef and a cat and a mouse, is going to be chaos. He's played by Ken Jeong. And so the cast, I think, on a script level, the human part of the plot, no, it doesn't work as well as Tom and Jerry stuff, but I think it works better in execution than it probably could have on the strength of the cast that Mr. Story has assembled. I think that if you didn't have like your Chloe Moretzes and your Rob Delaney's and Colin Jost and stuff, people who can do, Ken Jeong, or even these actors that I'm unaware of, like the nice bartender guy and the bride, who are both pretty good in the movie. If you didn't have people who were good in the movie like that, it probably wouldn't work as well. I feel like if there were lesser actors, it wouldn't have been pulled off to the best ability. But I also don't think that there's enough Tom and Jerry stuff. I think that people in reviews talking about how there's barely any Tom and Jerry. Someone said there's like 10 minutes of it. I wouldn't say there's only 10. I think there's at least a good 20 minutes in there of Tom and Jerry. Maybe. There's enough to kind of, and it's scattered throughout. You see them enough, and like, I also appreciate the fact that, unlike the original movie, they're not friendly. They do that thing that Tom and Jerry's always done, which is that they hate each other until there's a common enemy. And then they team up, and then they go right back to hating each other, which is kind of what this movie does too. It doesn't fall in the sort of, well, they don't Grinch it, basically. They don't do it like they did the Benedict Cumberbatch Grinch movie, where it's like, oh, but he can't be too mean. No. Tom and Jerry want to kill each other. That's the point. And I appreciate the fact that Tom and Jerry, most scenes they're in, they're doing what they do best. Smacking each other around and causing chaos. I also appreciate the fact that the movie's PG rating really is only for the slapstick violence. And I appreciate, similar to what I appreciated more than other people about the Three Stooges movie, is that when the slapstick big action fights come, they don't pull punches. It really kind of pushes the PG rating. There's some kind of fun, maybe not push the PG rating, but let's put it, it's not sanitized. It's not like going that, easier kind of half-assed route of, oh, we have to make it friendlier. We can't make it too brutal. Like when Tom gets, let's say, smashed by Jerry in the mouth, his teeth fall out and he's gummed. They do the old, more violent things. Chloe Moretz is a strong lead. She's always good. It's been kind of a minute since I've seen her. I think the last movie I remember seeing her in was that, which I mentioned in my I Care A Lot review, The Fifth Wave, which was terrible. She was good in it, but the movie overall was just not very good. She's good in this, and I like her little friendship with the bartender guy. I like her friendship of sorts with Tom and Jerry. I just think that whole thing, there are some good background gags and little animation Easter eggs, Hanna-Barbera references, one involving a particular recent popular Warner Brothers movie. In the background, let's put it, look at the street signs in New York that involve animated characters. Got an audible laugh out of me. There's another gag later, like an in-joke. I also like that it's modern in maybe the music cues, but it's not, and maybe some of the gadgets they use for their slapstick, but it's not, outside of one poop gag, there's not a bunch of potty humor and a bunch of lowest common denominator stuff or annoying kind of humor. For the most part, they keep the integrity of the characters. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut this off here. I gotta watch the Billie Eilish movie. So, let's do this. Tom and Jerry. And the other thing I think, Tom and Jerry final verdict is, listen, I hate using this thing because I think it's an excuse. I don't mean it as an excuse this time. I think that this is a movie that kids will love. Kids will love the Tom and Jerry stuff. And I think as parents, especially nostalgic ones, or even people like me who just love this cartoon, will also smile more than they expect. Go and look at quotations and you might be surprised. the movie's like 25% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think it's that bad. I really don't. I think that you just people need to know that what they were getting into when they bought a ticket to see Tom and Jerry. Sometimes you got to just take a movie at face value. And I think that at face value, this is a solid matinee. I'll give this 3.5 stars. That's my matinees out of 5. It's not any great guns, but I enjoyed myself. I'm actually looking forward to going with my old chum and seeing this again. I wouldn't mind seeing this on the big screen. So, I had to watch it on my iPad, so I guess anything is an improvement, because that's another thing. HBO Max, can you get a proper patch or whatever to the app on PlayStation? I tried streaming it on my PlayStation, and I got 2 minutes in. I got to the point the singing pigeons ended, and then it just froze up like it always does. Get it together, guys. Come on. Come on. Anyway, let's, I guess, segments. Trailer trash. For those who are new to my channel, who haven't followed me on Instagram, that's, trailer trash is when I say if there's any trailers. That's kind of what I do. None. There weren't any. I watched on HBO Max. I might kind of, in the second opinion, when I see it in theaters, if there's some trailers, I'll talk about it. Was there shawarma? Which is, was there shawarma means, extras during the credits? There was. There was some nice little, during the credits there was some nice little animation. There is a scene after the credits that I honestly think is maybe the funniest joke in the human plot of the movie. It's a really good kind of punchline involving Colin Jost. I think it's worth sticking around for. Very, very funny. So, yeah, 3.5 stars to Tom and Jerry. Let's close the book on this guy. I liked it. And I got stuff to do. I gotta very quickly, what time is it? Oh, golly. Oh, gosh, golly, gee willikers. From the 50s. I gotta get watching Billie Eilish. It's 2.5 hours long. So, I will be back in approximately that time to talk about Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry, which is a big leap from this movie. But that'll be next time. Then I have some other things planned. Like I said, Punky Brewster's on its way when I can get to it, which will be very soon. I was going to keep doing my weekly Afraid of the Dark reviews. Now that I'm on YouTube, I just feel like after last week, which was kind of a filler episode, I'll just do it at the end of the season. I'll do a season review. So anyway, yeah. And after this week's WandaVision, I'm really excited for next week when I can dive deep. So that's going to be next time. Don't want to go too long. That's going to be next time, and until next time, I'm Grant the Movie and TV Guy. I see it all, and I'm happy to share it with you. And later I'm probably going to watch some vintage old Tom and Jerry cartoons. It's not that bad, you guys. It's a good movie. Thank you all.